What's up, everybody? It's your favorite mysteries, favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Fans Hobby Energon Wing Saber Obsidian Blade, as Fans Hobby calls them. This is on loan to me from Caleb. Shout out to him. Let me be 100% honest. I have no idea what this is supposed to be, what it means, what it's supposed to mean, how accurate it is, how inaccurate it is. I don't know anything about this, but Caleb was kind enough to let me take a look at it. My understanding is that you guys like Transformers, so I'm showing it to you. That being said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at it, but in order to do so, we're going to first take a look at accessories. He comes with 2 missiles. They might actually be painted. I can't tell. No, that's just texture. But black plastic, sculpted well enough. They insert into these front little firing bits here. And then the trigger for them is on the inside. And I'll try to... Oh, wow. That's pretty great. This one's not pushed in all the way or something. Let's see. There we go. All right, now let's try. So I got a little bit of problem on that side. This side, yeah. Oh, let's make sure I can find that. He also comes with a different Optimus head for this guy. And you can kind of open it up here and have like the smaller Optimus head as well, which is pretty cool. Metallic red paint on the eyes, silver paint on the face mask, silver paint on the little details there. You know, you get this wide old face, but if you like it, you win. Now, Caleb included this sword. I'm guessing this went to the Optimus and not to this guy because it wasn't in the box for this guy. But it is nice. It has some nice weight to it. Gold, chrome, etc., etc. And our guy can hold it with a groove system in his palm, which is why I included it like it was his accessory. That sword can also be held by Combined Form 1 in the same way. And Super Robot version 2 can also hold the sword in the same manner. A little bit of a tighter fit, but he can still do it. And let's get to vehicle mode. So it's huge. There it is next to Tiger Track. So it has that going for it anyway. Looks very kind of like it reminded me, my first impressions of a battle droid ship. Those kinds that were like, these parts here could walk, you know, like walked around like this and then took off. We have some silver and gold. This silver paint in particular is really well done. It's somewhat surprising because when I think of Fans Hobby, paint is not the first thing that comes to mind. Well, it's not the first through 5th thing that comes to mind, to be honest with you, but that's really well done. Grayish paint there. We have a blue line work here on the sides that is really sharp. I'm guessing that this is supposed to be turned that way. Then we have some silver and gold back there. The guns can rotate. You can shoot inside or outside. A little bonus feature. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot else to say about it. On the back, we have all sorts of silver and gold details, as well as the metallic red. That looks fantastic. The paint on this guy, you know, like I said, I don't really expect much out of Fans Hobby when it comes to paint, but the paint on this guy is pretty great. It does have some landing gear, and I'm going to try to show that to you. There's one. There's the other. These two come down here, snap together, and then you have these that come out underneath as well. And then he can theoretically roll. I'm not sure that these wheels are a little too tight actually to get him to actually roll, but you know, that's how it's supposed to work. You know, and I don't think there's a whole lot more to say about it, to be honest. All right, let's get him transformed. So, collapse these barrels here. They have a tendency to collapse anyway, but collapse these barrels. We want to disconnect this little like hook in, this like a tab, 2 sets of tabs right there from this piece, this upper piece to this lower piece. And then we have a hip skirt here that we have to open up. The same on the back side. And then this piece, it's like all black, so it's like hard to like differentiate, like it's all the same color. That one down. We're gonna do the same on this side. Up. down, down, disconnect, and then you want to bring these down, spin at the thigh 180, rotate the gun around to the opposite side, and then connect the pelvis, and then bring the hip skirts back up on the side. All right, flip the chest down, flip the back plate. These arms, there's 2 tabs that will coincide there, and then this will also lock in to the chest. And then you have 1 panel to open here, 1 panel to open here. Flip the hand out, panel down, extend, panel over. Or maybe it just flips on the other side. Yep, okay. And then spin your shoulder piece around. So same on this side, if it hasn't already collapsed, collapse. Spin the bicep, panel 1 open, panel 2 open, bring the fist out, panel down, slide that casing down, spin the shoulder piece, open this, head down, combine them, close this, and that is the sequence. I'll go ahead and get them cleaned up. We'll take a look at them. And we'll get in tight on the head sculpt for Dennis. Let me move my light around a little bit. So, I think it looks great. The red metallic eyes look great. The silver face paint looks great. The head gets up, down. My copy doesn't really want to stick together a whole lot, and you get a limited swivel. It looks like you can get this way, but not so much that way. I don't know. And then it comes apart. It comes apart very easily on the copy that I'm looking at. All right. The paint, once again, comes through beautifully. This is one of the best Fans Hobby painted figures I've ever seen. Same goes for the chest. The shoulders. So the shoulder movement is all inside of here. Great paint work there. It's a universal joint. It's ratcheted. You get out to 90 degrees, and then you can kind of cover down as need be. And you get a little bit back. This panel doesn't open up. And then you get this much forward. Once again, cover down as need be. You have a, whoop, that's another thing. This connection doesn't stay super connected for me either. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, wrist swivel, fingers are on a base pin knuckle, typewriter fingers, but what are you going to do? So no waist swivel, but you do get an ab crunch, so that's nice, and it's a proper ab crunch. Hip skirts get up and, or get down and out of the way on this copy. Here they get up and out of the way. And you get out to the side to about there. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. But forward and back to about there. Let me just remove that for now. The knee, ratcheted. It's technically double jointed, I guess, but I wouldn't use that lower one. And I love how this covers down on the joint. Really, really nice. God bless it. All right. What am I doing with my life, man? Okay. Ankles. You get a toe tilt down and up, and then a ratcheted ankle rocker that is quite nice. Once again, the blue and silver and gold details come through nicely. Let me put him back together. We'll do some size comparisons. Size comparison wise, I don't have anything that necessarily makes a whole lot of sense, but there he is next to Masterpiece Sideswipe as well as MMC's Rodimus. So hopefully that helps in some regard. But nothing I review can be that simple these days. Everything needs a third mode or more, so let's continue. So you got to split this guy in half, take the legs off. The legs you can sort of just sit to the side. And then we're going to work with these. So the arms have to pretty much go back to where they were. So you can spin this shoulder piece 180. All of this opens up. The panel here opens. The hand goes in. That panel closes. This panel comes up. That panel closes, and I think that's, you probably want that, I don't know. I don't know how you think you would want it there, so that you kept that blue line intact. And then the head goes away, and then this whole bit here becomes the hand, but there, you got to slide the hand out. And then that's the elbow, which is pretty interesting. All right, set that to the side for a second. Same here. We're going to open this up. Let's spin this first. And then grab that hand. I'm sure there's an easier way to do that. Maybe there is, and I just can't figure it out. All right, open this up. Hand goes in. Close this up. Close that up. Close that up. I kind of want to keep this blue in line for the aesthetic. I'm not sure if that's right or not. I will look into it before we go any further. Open this up, tuck the head in, close that back down. Maybe that comes down. I'm not sure. We'll take a look. I'll get it all cleaned up eventually. So then you take your prime and you just slide that straight down. Same on this side. And these go, I'm going to close these up just for the time being. These go on the arms. On both sides. There's a little, let me see here if I can't raise this up for you a little bit. There's a little flap here you want to be mindful of, but otherwise it's pretty much smooth sailing. There we go. All right, I'll get them cleaned up. We'll take a look at them. All right, let's talk about them. So we have the head sculpt. I'm not a big fan of wide head Optimus, but you may be, and maybe true to the source material and all that. I'm just not stylistically a fan, but I'm sure it looks fine for what it is. It is on a ball peg. That's also how you swap the head in and out. So you get limited up, good bit down, side to side, and confused Mega Prime look. You have this glowing gold chest piece here, and then these pieces will close around it if you prefer that look. But I think it's intended to be like this. Gold chrome on the abdomen, all of that looks good. The arms go out to the side. They rotate forward. You get a 90-degree elbow. Actually, you get a double elbow joint that gets you the full range. You get a reverse butterfly. And a little bit of a forward butterfly too, arguably. As for the waist, Waist swivel is there. No real ab crunch. All right, let's get these arms out of the way. Lower the camera a bit. Hips, you have ratcheted out to the side for 90 degrees pretty much. We'll get this forward. 90 degrees forward. And a good bit back, probably more than you would ever need. Thigh swivel, single hinge knee, and then the ankles are the same as before. So, obviously, I mean, honestly, like it's better than the core bot, you know, which is rare that you make something combined with something else and it ends up better than the initial, but that is the case here. Let's do size comparisons. And once again, size comparison wise, there he is with the Rodimus and the side swipe. Hopefully that gives you some idea of what you're working with. You know, he's about twice the size of a Masterpiece car, so significant. Now, guess what? You guessed it. We got another mode to go to. Whoa, mama. We're gonna take off these legs. Let me try this real quick off camera. There, I couldn't get them to stay on earlier. Now, you know, Murphy's Law. Okay, so now these become the new arms, right? So this comes up. This piece comes up and slides in, and then there's a piece that comes down. This piece. Whoop. All right, that comes down to cover down, and then you bring the hand down. As you do so, these two bits come down, which is kind of cool, but you got to make sure they slide up because there's two notches in there that go into two notches in the palm, so you slide them back down into the palm of the hand, and then bring this around. Underneath, and I think that hand goes like that. That goes like this, and then the gun faces forward. No, that can't be right. Oh well, I'll figure it out when we go to combine it. Let's do it again, because that was a little rocky, right? All right, open this up. There's a flap in here that comes out, and then down to cover, and then this flap, one flap goes in, one flap comes out. That flap goes in, and then we have this hand that comes out. These bits come out with it. Take the hand back in and then slide them back down so that they plug into the palm of the hand, and then take this bit out and around, and then this one faces forward as well. All right, I removed these already to avoid any more humiliation, but they just slide right off. So hand tucks in, it'll only tuck in one way, but hand tucks in, open this piece up here, open this piece, and this piece, and this piece, and this piece, I think. And this comes up, and then close all of this around it, and then this comes over. Make sure that you spin that 180. This flap will open up, tab back around. Whoa, sorry about that. And then that becomes like the heel. So that's one. Same on this side. Collapse the hand. Get that panel up. Get all this up. Raise this up. Raise that. This comes up. This closes in around it. This comes over. This spins around. That closes in. Spins around 180. Open this up. Boom. All right, same thing. It's a little obnoxious because all that junk has to go on the inside, but there's one. There's the other. And then the arms go in the same way. There's one. And there's the other. I'll clean it up. We'll take a look at it. All right. So head obviously is the same. You can have your chest pieces once again opened or closed, however you prefer. I'm not sure that I like that look personally, but something about I gotta see Prime's windshield, man. It's just that's me. Maybe I'm a dinosaur. That's okay. Arms. So the round. You do get this reverse butterfly. You get a limited out to the side. Ratcheted elbow to 90 degrees. Wrist swivel until they bump into this cannon here. You can get the cannon out of the way. Get the full swivel. Fingers are individually articulated. I don't think I went over this on the last one, but at the base pin knuckle, secondary and tertiary knuckle, and then the thumb is on the ball peg that comes out to a secondary knuckle. Let's see what else here. Bicep swivel. Waist is going to be the same. Knees get you 90 degrees again, and then ankles you just get a rocker. And I think that will give us enough of an idea. I mean, it's interesting that it can do all this stuff. You know, like, I guess that's cool in concept. Let's do some size comparisons and get out of here. And then size comparison, once again, there he is next to a Masterpiece car and a Rodimus from MMC. Once again, about the same size as the other one, about twice the size as an MP car, which I think is probably about appropriate, I would imagine. I don't know. I really don't know too much about this guy, but hope that helps. I feel like I should get more than one for this, but I'm just going to keep it 131. Final thoughts wise, let's start with the negative. So the actual robot mode of Obsidian Blade does have some hindrances. The shoulder assembly doesn't allow for backward movement of the arm. Also, in order to move laterally or forward, you got to move those plates just due to how it's built and designed. The head doesn't stay stuck together. I also have limited articulation in the head, so to speak. The legs have a tendency to pop off and kind of 0 to 60 their way to combining with the Optimus. No waist swivel, etc. Also, and one of my rocket launchers may not be working quite right, but I'll leave that to Caleb to figure out. The only other negative I want to point out about this set is it does have some of those like fans hobby build issues where like you saw that one flap just come completely out and I had to put it back. The one leg sort of disconnected quite freely. The other one kind of struggled and hung on for dear life. The one arm inserts nicely with the flap going in nicely into the cavity. The other one, the flap kind of gets away. Just little inconsistencies that I have noticed with fans hobby throughout my time reviewing them. Moving on to the positives, I actually have a lot to say. This is 100% the best painted Fans Hobby piece I've ever seen. The transformation is smart. It's not always effective, but it's smart, like splitting the head into and hiding them under the collar pieces. And while the core robot has some articulation limitations, I think it's mainly meant to accompany this bigger Prime, and that actually works much better, especially in Phase 1 or Mode 1. I like it with the chest closed. I like my Prime windows. But, you know, double jointed elbows, full 90-degree range knees, ankles that work quite well. The wings look imposing. Like, I think it looks cool. All the gold chromed accents both on the sword and in the abdominal area and stuff, like, help bring it to life. The articulation works, I mean, even better in this mode than it does in the core bot mode. It looks better. The proportions look better. Like, I think they nailed the mode you're looking at right here. And the combination is simple. It doesn't require you to reinvent the wheel. You slide the legs in, you slide the arms in, he's good to go. Like, a lot of companies could learn something from that. And I think it's an impressive undertaking. You know, I mean, they had to obviously think all of this stuff out from Jump Street. And it shows. And it shows that they did it with a bit of care and pride. And you'll never hear me complain about that. I think as an individual purchase, it's kind of lackluster. But as like this combination sequence interchangeable thing, I think it's actually fairly impressive. And thus a recommend from me. So I hope that helps. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.